Welcome to the Outer Rim Rookie, a beginner's journey to joining the 501st and Rebel Legion. My name is Rob Williams, and I'm here with special guest, Jamie!
Hey guys! Hey Rob!
This is the second time we've recorded this! I'm so frustrated. We recorded the first 6 minutes or so, and then you were polite enough to say, by the way, we haven't started recording yet. And so here we are again, but we're just going to kind of move past that. This episode today, we're gonna look back at an old video of mine from 10 years ago, and this is episode 15 of the podcast, where it was myself and Neil, as well as the old podcast host Jamie, Bulant and Josh. I'm all flustered now after what had just happened. So Bulant and Josh were there. This was the four of us, and we invited Terry Chui of the Outer Rim Garrison, who is now, I would consider, a good friend, to come on the show and teach us more about 501st Legion, Outer Rim Garrison, the armor, and this stemmed out of a visit that we had at FanCon, Fan Expo in Vancouver. And when we went to the booth, we saw all the cool stuff. We were really super excited. And actually, Jamie, a question I had that I didn't ask you when we weren't recording. Were you at that Fan Expo 10 years ago?
No, I was not. No? At least, I might have been, but I don't remember seeing you guys. I was basically I think Fan Expo was one of my... I don't want to say it was one of my first events, but it was pretty early on. Honestly, I can't say. Not without looking at a calendar, but I know I was in the Garrison at the time when this was recorded. Yeah. I remember Terry talking about, I was on a podcast, you should check it out. But yeah.
And we had you hooked from the very beginning.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think like you said earlier, this was episode 15 of the podcast, and I watched every single one afterwards, starting with that one, basically where Terry was
seriously on. That's wow. I'm actually quite flattered about that we can keep your not keep your attention. Well, I was going to say keep your attention, but just maintain that sort of viewership is more what I wanted to say. It's just because now you're one of our hosts. In fact, I think you became one of our hosts about a year after or so, maybe a year and a half. Episode 100, maybe? Were you there?
Yeah,
you were there for episode 100.
I think I joined because Josh was leaving. Yeah. And so he and I had one episode of overlap where we were both on. It was his last and my first as a full, as a member of the podcast, a co-host. I had been on a couple before that as a guest.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think Fanboys, we were talking about the movie Fanboys or something like that.
Yeah, we were talking Fanboys, and we were talking, I think Kenny Baker had just passed.
Oh, that's right, Kenny Baker. But now we're going to be looking back at this thing, and we've already cut the first 6 minutes. We're going to kind of go over it again, and we may be a little bit... I may be a little bit off kilter because, like I said, we had recorded 6 minutes of this, and then it just dawned on us that we weren't recording. But I will tell you, I'll hit start now, and we'll press play. I can kind of talk about the intro. This whole intro was done by, the whole video was done by Bulant. He made the crawl here, and the music was done by Bulant's cousin. He originally did our Generation X-Wing podcast intro music, which was I still really like, but I'm kind of happy that this still exists on the internet. I know it's up to us to take it down, but I haven't seen this thing in 9 years, minus the last 9 minutes. But so this is. But one of the things I will tell you, as we start watching this episode, Terry brought in about 2 or 3 boxes or trunks full of equipment and helmets, and you can see the lightsabers in the back there. When he came, it was like Christmas for us, and Terry is extremely knowledgeable. Was he the CO at this time?
The original sculptor was Liz Moore.
Yes. Yeah, he was a commanding officer of the Outer Rim Garrison at the time.
Was it a garrison when you were a member? Was it a squad?
Most of the
Um,
helmets that you can find now, obviously, they're sort of
it.
kits
I
or
was
whatever, but they
right
have some
there when it made the jump
different
from squad to
collector
garrison, because
helmets
I
that you
think
can
they
just
needed
bought at auction, that kind of
either
thing.
needed or wanted. They had
Some of them
30
came from
members, I think, when it
tour
became a
suits. A lot
garrison,
of
and
these
I
sort of
was
have
I was
trickled down
number,
through different
I
hands,
want
but
to say
now there's sort of
32.
different makers
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was there pretty
that
early.
create these. So
So this is all in Anil's house, and
so if you're
little bit of a
into like
spoiler: we didn't hear the phone ring
white
in
plastic,
this
I guess.
episode.
Oh, really?
Oh, not in this episode. I'm
No,
still
not in this
expecting
episode.
it
I
though.
don't know if it happens in the next episodes because I haven't seen
Yeah.
this in
You
a
said this
long
is in
time.
3 parts?
This is in 3 parts, yeah. So this is the first part, and I love that shirt. By the way, we were talking about the shirt off air, but I have done an art project with my students involving these stormtrooper helmet and art designs, and I got all these helmets that are designed by kids, and I'm going to put on my wall of my classroom.
So there's really not.
So this is Terry's private stash, right?
Yeah, this is his own costumes. Like, I'm pretty sure he has a stunt stormtrooper, which he's got the helmet there because he's got the
Mhm.
flat lenses. He's got a hero stormtrooper.
So you kind of think, oh, you're just
So like
wearing
the
this
hero being the
black,
ones that Han and Luke wear.
black
Right.
much plastic.
So they have bubble lenses. That's the easiest way to tell.
It gets really hot.
That
So
and
even with
the
helmet
the
off,
brow
it's really
trim
hot.
sits right
You gotta
on
remember
the
back in the
eyes
day,
in the hero
when they
helmets.
made movies, it's like it's all
Um,
about
So there's no
how
white
dense that
gap between
helmet
the
is.
no,
brow and oh, okay.
no, and like if you look at like
How long an
these
actor
are
was on
these aren't the
stage or
droids
how
we're
long they
looking
were in
for. Like the
costume
sand
for.
trooper, his
Mhm.
brow trim is like a
Shot.
rainbow.
So
Like it's
you
so
know,
curved and so high. So like
Oh,
it varies for all the
they were
stunts.
all vacuum
But yeah,
formed
the
and
hero ones, obviously they were in
some
all the
helmets
close-ups with
were
the hero characters, so they were very
HDPE high
meticulous about
performance
making sure they looked the best.
because the fabricator
what do you think he painted this with? Because we found out that this is he painted all this,
Yeah.
which is amazing stuff. But
I think the standard what I used probably on Terry's recommendation was enamel paint.
enamel,
So basically
okay.
like model paint.
categories of helmets. There's what's called
Mm,
the
So
stunt
okay.
helmet.
it's very durable.
The stunt helmet is generally kind of what you see in the original.
I just finished today. I was painting my AT-AT driver, and I use acrylic, but uh, with a top coat put on top of it. And I'm a little concerned it's not going to last too long. Might have to go back to enamel if it starts peeling off.
Or I mean, if you do put like a clear coat on it, like obviously it's you want a glossy finish, so you need like a glossy clear coat, but that would help preserve the paint on it for sure.
Mm-hmm. I used a matte coat. I'm not too the matte or gloss wasn't too much of a problem with me. I just had what I had.
Oh,
But man, just look at that paint job he did.
Yeah, like they got the mesh on them, right? So that's what they're
yeah,
reported to be.
I remember that part of
It's called the
finishing my
vocoder.
helmet
And
being
then
very
you've got
difficult.
your earpieces and your traps and vents. And these are all details that were just hand
It's
painted on.
amazing looking back at this
Surprised
now.
how much hand paintings on.
So this is fairly
Yeah. I impressed myself so much 10 years later. All the hand painting. I didn't even hear that when we recorded this last time. But it's funny when it's all hand painted, and that's the way it was in the movies. But we look at those Black Series ones, and they put the holes in it.
Yeah. Well,
Makes
the
it more
Black Series
realistic.
helmets are based on the Rogue One Stormtrooper helmets, whereas basically like an idealized version of the Stormtrooper helmet. So like
Gotcha.
the tube stripes are sunken in, the vents are actually vents. Yeah, I think the vocoder is actually like a molded piece,
Mm.
like a separate piece, and not just like painted details. So like they idealize them.
And a lot's changed since this 10 years ago. Like the idea of 3D printing all this stuff and the technology to build this.
So the way to wear it.
Well, I mean, 3D printing is definitely a thing these days, but you still need an accurate model.
Right.
And like the tough part with that, with if you were wanting to 3D print one, is the original helmets are not symmetrical. They were all hand molded
Yeah.
or like hand sculpted,
Mm-hmm.
and then obviously molds taken from that in ABS. It's like, yeah, it would be really difficult to get an accurate Stormtrooper 3D printing wise.
This is where we get super excited about the helmets. Let's put them on. Let's try it. Take a
I
picture.
like Neil's shirt there. I think
Yeah.
that's from the Star Wars Identities tour.
look at the
Looks
there we
really
go.
good.
We're
There
doing
was
a
a flash of
comparison
Rob.
now.
Oh, look at the
We got a
Sandstorm one.
Sandtrooper helmet and a
Look at the weathering on that.
regular TK
Yeah.
TK helmet.
I was
Funny.
I was so afraid to put that thing on. I don't even think I put
I
it
would
on
be
fully.
too. I wouldn't want to put on someone else's helmet, especially like coming in fresh and not knowing.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of those people where I'm just like, no, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to wreck it. I don't want to scratch it or scuff it or anything. Like I don't want to be responsible for that.
No, yeah. I don't want to be that guy. It's just like I went to help these guys out and the dude dropped it. He was playing hacky sack with the damn thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
okay.
that would feel really bad.
I was worried this would be cringe, and so far it hasn't been too cringe. It's been kind of giving me the feels about just the excitement of being of not being a member yet, and just kind of exploring this whole new world of costumes and helmets, and just being
Yeah.
able to hold it. So
when you guys recorded this, were you thinking back then that you were going to join?
I remember at the end of this episode, I was like, "This is what I want to do."
Yeah.
At the very end of the episode, I was like, "I want to do more of this." I don't know if I said that in the video. I'm very curious if I did, but I remember thinking of it because it was when I saw the Scout. The Scout was the costume that if I was to do one, that'd be it. It was either that or the Imperial Gunner for some reason.
So
And
you basically decided that the one helmet that you actually couldn't fit on your head, you wanted to do that costume.
I want what I can't have, I guess.
I get it. I love the Scout so much that I made my own. But yeah, that's because I remember, I think you said when in our first take that you tried the scout helmet
Yeah.
on and it didn't fit.
It couldn't fit. Yeah, it's but I was always a Scout Trooper fan. Return of the Jedi has been my favorite movie. I'm like, most of my costumes come from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And the Scout Trooper was such an awesome character for me, and flying through the woods and on like a speeder bike, the sound of it was just like I was sold. It was a stormtrooper but looked a little bit different and unique. So
it's cool. They're like special forces type stormtroopers.
Oh yeah, totally. Sorry,
I don't know if you considered it, but the Scout Trooper isn't, I would say, having built a stormtrooper and a Scout Trooper, the Scout Trooper was an easier build. So
was it?
An easier entry? Absolutely. Yeah, there's with the stormtrooper, you're joining like you're joining hard armor pieces together in the build, so you need to make sure that it fits you.
Interesting.
And that's a little bit stressful, and it's hard to make that work. And it's like as you're gluing it together, you're like, I hope this fits.
I kind of get a taste of that now. Just doing the AT-AT driver helmet, it's been so stressful, so extremely stressful with the paint and the screwing, and I make a mistake, and I was just like, I don't know if I could do a whole TK now. And
it's doable. A lot of people have done it, but it's definitely a little bit of a difficulty jump over a Scout.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's watch part 2. This stuff I
don't remember the original theme song. I kind of want to.
I want to
do it now.
I'll
have a trip down memory lane.
I don't know if I have it on here, so.
So we're doing a comparison now. We got a Sand Trooper helmet. And
so yeah, I've heard Terry, because I've see the TK helmet fits you there.
I didn't put it on fully.
Yeah,
I can tell.
I've discussed building a Sand Trooper with Terry previously, so he's gone into a bit of the finer details of his own Sand Trooper with me, and yeah, I remember him saying like he's screen matched basically this helmet and the weathering and the paint, even the flaws in the paint job, to one specific Sand Trooper.
Wow.
Which is crazy. So like little paint drips, you can see like there's little like scratches and nicks there.
Yeah.
He's mimicked paint drips, and he'll have like screen matched the weathering as well to make sure that it looks close to the Load Your Weapons Man Sand Trooper.
That's a level of dedication that I just I admire, but I can never reach. I can never reach that level.
I mean, you've done a lot of research on your own costumes, and that's basically like. Well, I should let him speak here.
Replicate. So there were only 6 Sand Troopers in A New Hope. In terms of on screen.
Are you talking like the unedited, like the
original cut? Yeah, and they show up in the special edition as well too.
So which trooper did you choose to?
So this particular one is called the Stop That Ship Trooper. So a
Stop
lot of
that
people
ship.
replicate the Move Along Trooper.
Stop
so the
that
Move
ship.
Along Trooper has the most lines. He has the most scenes, right?
Yeah.
So that original helmet was thrown in the garbage. It was thrown in the garbage.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Apparently there was people at Elstree Studios
in a collection, right?
digging through the garbage, pulling armor
out
of the dumpster.
So I talked about how
Well, wasn't there a piece of the Death Star that was just chucked away and some guy found and put it in a fence or something?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
Yeah.
A person by the name of Andrew Ainsworth.
I'm just thinking like the scratches and all that stuff on the dome.
What happened was
he had
started making the helmets
like he consciously matched everything.
Yeah. And that's really hard to do weathering wise, is to mimic or like mirror match weathering.
Yeah.
Because like when someone's weathering it for the movie, they're just doing whatever, right? Like they're not trying to do anything in particular. They're just making it look dirty and used. Trying to mimic that is really hard.
Like a deal.
Yeah.
Sort of one of those like cash deal, undocumented sort of, crappy sci-fi movie. Nobody thought anything was going to happen with this, right?
Crappy sci-fi was.
It's awesome. He starts pulling, armor like 1 4x8 at a time. And there's awesome archive photos.
Yeah, the big vacuum formed ABS pulling. That's something to see.
Like they were using the high density
Is there videos of it?
That's what he was using for other.
Not of the original guy who pulled. I think he made hot tubs back then, but they were. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be able to pull some armor in ABS on a vacuum form machine. But yeah,
he could probably start churning these out. So
I've seen him do a number of that. I see some videos of people doing storage. It's really cool to see it just.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Very cool.
And that was like back when the 501st started, I had actually looked into like the year that they started, like how do I join?
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, the only way was to mold and vacuum form your own armor.
Oh, wow.
I was like, well, I guess that's not happening. So I just gave it up until like 10 years later, basically.
It's like, there are people that have gone like down, super deep. With,
I'm doing that.
Or the Maltese Falcon, or the whatever, right? So
that's the thing. Like, I think we had talked about this previously, but like molding your own would be really hard because they're not symmetrical. The helmets aren't symmetrical.
No.
Darth Vader isn't symmetrical. The stormtroopers aren't symmetrical. So you can't just like model one in CAD or whatever on your computer and then mirror flip it, because it's not going to look right. If you ever see like a symmetrical stormtrooper helmet, you're like, something's off. And you just know subconsciously that something's not right.
Engineered somebody else's armor, and the faceplate might be original, but some other parts aren't. And he's made a lot of claims like, "Oh, I designed it," and he didn't. Right? No. Ralph McQuarrie designed it.
Yes.
Oh, is he talking about that guy who does the stormtrooper?
Andrew Ainsworth. So
is he the one that sells the stupid stormtrooper barbecue sauce? And
I don't know, but he's the guy who pulled the armor originally. Like like I said, he was the guy. I think his business he was making hot tubs, which was vacuum formed ABS, and he just got contracted to pull like ABS pulled off of the molds that I think Brian Muir made. And then he's saying he designed it, and like no, like Terry said, Ralph McQuarrie designed it, Brian Muir and one other person I think sculpted it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Andrew Ainsworth was just the guy that just vacuum formed it.
Oh, I gotcha.
These, actually heated them up and formed these little bumps and then painted them. So if you go and look at pictures.
Yeah, like he's even painted in a crack in the helmet on the side there below the tube stripes.
Yeah.
And I think he runs into Garinden, and he's like, he's the guy.
Oh, so he is Load Your Weapons Ben, but he's also Stop That Ship guy.
He's like, stop that ship! And then he starts shooting and he gets shot, right? Yeah. Actually, he does. If you watch closely, the shot goes like way above him, and then he just does like a tuck and roll. So it's like,
the roof explodes from a single blaster bolt from Han's
sort of a style
blaster,
that I actually kind of established.
And he falls down.
It's called, I call it the sort of like oily, dirty style. A lot of the sand troopers tend to weather their armor using, gray or black paints.
It's funny. I have no recollection of this entire conversation.
Really?
Yeah. I think I was just a little bit in awe.
I mean, that's totally fair. It's kind of like watching a movie for the first time that you're really excited for, right? Like, it's hard to process it all completely the first time.
Or I'm fighting dementia, one of the two.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column
A, a little bit of B.
And it looks like it really was in the desert.
Yeah. So this one doesn't have a liner in it. So if you want to put it on,
I think this one actually might fit, but go ahead.
Look at it.
Neil just bogarts it.
In terms of stormtroopers and sand troopers, if you are interested in kind of how to get involved with the Fire
Force it actually fit. Look at that.
More information.
Yeah, there's once you get past the having to turn it sideways, you get it on your head. There's a significant amount of room inside those helmets.
Definitely.
Whitearmor.net is the Stormtrooper detachment of the Fire First Legion, and then there's also a cool subforum called the Mos Eisley.
I'm taking. What the hell am I doing? Taking notes.
So the Mos Eisley Police Department, of course, is dedicated to sand troopers, right? So
Can you even write with that on?
Yeah, it's like
you already sound like a stormtrooper by wearing the helmet.
So speaking of
these aren't the droids are looking for.
Speaking of sounding like a stormtrooper, what a lot of stormtroopers will do is they'll buy these voice amps. So this is an example of
the amps.
This is an Acre.
Yeah,
I love
a lot of heavy lifting for making you sound like a stormtrooper. I love it.
It's like this.
Tech support, how can I help you?
Exactly, yeah. And you just turn on, and we'll mount these under our.
I think I have that exact same Acre still.
And it just gives you a nice amplified.
Oh yes, it does.
You gotta say your line.
These are the droids you're looking for, right? It's got a little bit of a.
Say the actual line you based your helmet on.
No, say the right line, Terry.
Say the line, Bart.
Yeah, exactly.
Right now. I'm
Say what you're talking about, Willis.
Yeah, the Acre amps are awesome for making you sound like a stormtrooper.
That's the one. That one I use for 9-9. I have another one that I use for the Scout, and I get a lot of people complimenting me on the sound. You sound like a real stormtrooper. It does a lot of heavy lifting, as you said.
You can activate it by Vox, so just after you stop talking.
And that's the thing, like just a voice amp. But like he's talking about an ICOM that adds the like the pops and clicks.
Yeah.
I had one of those, but it needs a proprietary battery because it has like a memory.
Okay.
Because there's some settings that you can configure, and I got so sick of the batteries dying that I just got rid of it.
It sounds great, right? And especially when it's under the helmet, there's a little bit of echo, right? So you can use this for a variety of costumes.
It's one of my favorite things about the costume.
It adds a lot. It adds a lot to the realism of the kit, right? Like when you're in person.
I feel that I also put on a bit of more of a voice when I'm in the costume.
Oh yeah, you're in character, right?
Yeah. And it try to make it sound official, calling everybody sir and ma'am and sort of thing. But also it's just, I kind of go into a bit of baseball talk as well. Hi, inside, ball one.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see part 3. I'm like, this is super exciting. Do we see the Scout Trooper bucket in this video? I don't know.
So this is part 3 of 3, you said, right?
Yeah, part 3 of 3.
There's no more after this one?
No more after this one. So yes, and on the picture, I see a Scout Trooper bucket. So there we go. All right. What are you thinking so far? It's kind of...
I mean, I watched this back in the day when Terry said, hey, I was on this local podcast. You should check it out. So I started listening and I watched this video back. Like, yeah, it's so much fun seeing everybody. It's fun seeing Terry because, like, Terry has had countless conversations just like this with new troopers, existing troopers. Like, I remember him talking through, like, his weathering process and the detail and him being Stop That Ship guy and all that stuff. and talking through, you know, the finer details of like a hero helmet and a stunt helmet and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. He was on a podcast just before this one. I didn't know till after we had recorded.
Oh, really?
With Chris Hamilton. I don't know if you remember Chris Hamilton. Chris Hamilton, we've run into a number of times when it came to like lining up for Force Friday. And he's a kids musician and comedian now, writes kids books. He had his own podcast at the time called, I think it was Kids Talk, or I can't remember what it was, Star Wars Kids Talk. And I remember he had, after I recorded this and I discovered he had talked to Chris about this. And so I listened to their conversation as well. That was years ago again, but it's kind of cool to see this, revisiting this and having no memory of this conversation whatsoever. But if you, before we go to part 3, if you want to see the whole, all 3 videos without us yammering through it, please check it out. It is one of our oldest videos, so it's like near
still
the bottom
up on YouTube.
It's still up on YouTube. This is all straight from YouTube, and if you just put the choices to oldest, it's right there. It's the oldest video next to the one where we do an unboxing of a loot crate for some reason. So because loot crates were a thing, and
yeah, I remember that.
We thought we were going to take the internet by storm.
If you go to a con, I'm sure you can still see.
Oh God, crates. Yeah, they still have their version of loot crates, and then you got all these British snack crates and Japanese food crates and whatever, just random shit crates. It's just...
Yeah.
All right, let's go to part 3, and then I'll let you go carry on with the rest of your life. So.
I do like that version of the Star Wars song.
Yeah, it is good.
Oh yeah, there's Terry's X-wing helmet.
Forgot about that.
How did you get this?
So the original, let's go back into the history books, right? Let's go back to the historic recordings.
I love how much you know about the history of the actual.
It's what you have to almost research this to make it the way you want, right? If you want it to be, if you want it to just be close, you can slap some paint on there and it's close enough, right? If you're a diehard fan, you're like, I want to know everything. I want to know everything about this, and so that's just.
You talk to Terry. That's how you know everything.
I love the researching part of costumes and figuring out like what things actually were, what the components actually were, like the little mic tip things being like aerators for sinks and things, or like little microphones, things like that. Like
it's like $300 Star Wars Blueprints book, which is like the size of like a coffee table, and it comes in this giant.
It should come with legs to become a coffee table.
So I'm pretty hardcore with my Star Wars books. So the original.
Oh my God, I forgot about the constant Seinfeld references on the show.
Yeah,
that's something I don't miss. Sorry, Neil.
I think helicopter pilot's helmet. So if you look, Vietnam era, what normally would have been.
I just spent so much time with this bucket, with this style
one?
bucket. For the AT-AT.
Holding?
The same style for an AT-AT driver, TIE pilot,
X-wing pilot.
X-wing pilot, his training pilot.
And so what they did in the original movie.
Looks like somebody drew something dirty on the top there.
John Mullo on the original.
That's you. Do you know where that helmet is from in the movies?
Isn't that the training helmet for Luke had when waving around the saber?
It's like that's the logo that's on it.
A little thing glued on the front, and there's your helmet. Right. So, for the blast shield version, obviously it had the blast shield on the front. But if you peel that off,
Velcro.
And you can assemble these.
Oh, I remember him peeling it off, and I was like, "It's Velcro."
Yeah.
And
he wants to be able to swap it out for an actual visor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember being surprised by that.
Because I'm pretty sure that's the helmet he rocks when he does his X-wing pilot. Is that helmet?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, other types of one of the female.
One of them makes it in, and they dubbed over a voice
with a man's voice.
Yeah. And so one of the pilots.
In Return of the Jedi.
Monrovia Bold or something is like her name. She actually wears the original blast shield helmet with the orange, and so I loved it. So I was like, that's so cool, right? That
the
helmet's still there.
That's
and
so
then it's
cool. I
nobody
gotta check
knows
that
what
out
those
now.
buttons are.
I
It's
was
just
just
kind of
gonna
cool,
ask you
right?
about the insignias. Yeah.
No one really knows what they are. They were just like hand painted. So
It's got that writing on the ear.
Yeah.
There was 2 types of writing, Orabesh and whatever that was.
These were like,
Yeah.
I think they're like chin straps for like some sort of sports, like a lacrosse or a batting helmet or something.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of sports stuff. Like the pauldron. I don't know if he brings up the pauldron this episode, but I was shocked to hear that the pauldron was just for
like the kid's chest protector.
Yeah, that was the biggest surprise from this whole thing. I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, like one of the I think Move Along, you can see like a circular pattern on his pauldron from where a sticker was that they had like peeled off. Yeah.
North Dakota Little League.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So you can't walk or sit down in the stormtrooper stuff at all?
Can't go to the bathroom with a stormtrooper either.
That was a question I had.
It's going upstairs.
Does it come with a catheter?
I think that right there.
Oh, you're like, yeah. No,
I think right there I decided I'm not doing TK.
Sitting, no bathroom. Yeah, fair.
I need to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. You'll be sweating so much you won't need to go to the bathroom, so it won't matter.
There's so many stories about not being able to see out of these things and walking into stuff. Like
There's the one on camera.
And almost every movie too, which is really kind of scary. I gotta wear that thing. It's just killing me.
That one's small too, so it's going to be a bit of a squeeze. So
I'll shrink.
I think he pops that one on too. We took a group picture.
With everyone wearing
I'll try and find it. We took a group picture of all of us.
There it is.
This is a Biker Scout.
It's one of my favorites right there.
Master. So this is called a holdout.
Hey!
Master, right? So,
Look at me excited then too.
This was pretty neat, and this is actually a pair
It's got the old noisy cricket.
This is a pair of
I just had remember. He tries to pop it on, and he's. I remember this.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a pair of like a.
I think me and Anil were kind of like, "Oh, please don't break it! Please don't break
He's
it!"
just like squeezing it on.
Yeah.
I think they're called
Well, there's some scout gloves.
gloves and 70s motorcycle
Esprit.
gloves.
There's snowmobile
And
gloves.
they removed the zipper and just cut it out.
I think I have
And then
gloves that
they
are very
dyed-
similar to
They
that.
dyed these black. They were sort of like a tan color, but
Yes,
these are
I
obviously like
thought.
a replica version that you can get.
I did have
There's a lot of
gloves
stuff,
that were
you know,
black and
costuming,
were for
cosplay
snow.
community,
That's what I meant to say.
made-
I have gloves. This'll do, right? Nope.
Daunted by the fact that you might have to make some of this stuff. So me being a very thrifty person, I'm not. There's definitely ways you can go. You can go and like I just want to drop down, crazy. I just want this thing made for me, and I want one stop. And me, I'm like X-wing pilot gloves. Like what are those? Where did people get those from? And it's like you can buy these ones, and they're like $50, $60, $70, $80 leather replicas. I bought $12 black leather gloves off eBay where the front half of the glove from the wrist forward had the exact stitch lines.
Mhm.
And they were like for ranching, like a horse work or whatever.
Yeah.
And then
You do find little areas where you can save money, but it's rare. It's
But it involves more work, right?
Yeah.
Like what he's talking about is taking these leather gloves and then adding leather cuffs to them.
yeah,
So like he's basically customizing a set of gloves and making his own additions.
right.
Where like he finds something that's close. So yeah, if you're looking to be thrifty, it is going to be more work.
That's the thing I've noticed with this. It's like you find that there's a style for everybody. Those who want to do the exact details like Terry does, there's a world for that. If you want to, if you like just putting things together, there's a world for that. You just want to buy it clean. There's a somewhat world for that. Or you can't totally find like just give me your armor, I'll put it on. But there are easier paths than others.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like the stormtrooper thing, everybody pretty much has to make their own because you have to make it fit you, right? You can't just put on someone else's stormtrooper armor and have it look right because it's sized. But like the X-wing pilot, for example, you can buy all that stuff from makers on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you get like it's just off the rack sizing and you can get it tailored or you can tailor it yourself. But yeah, it's just that sliding scale of like how much work you want to do and how much money you want to spend.
Right.
There's a direct
Oh, yeah?
relationship between those two
That's
things.
cool. Sideways.
Oh, yeah.
And so the interesting thing about this blaster is it was intended to be held with 2 fingers. So it was never.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, what handle
Especially
is?
with those
I
gloves
don't
on.
really- I'm
Oh,
assuming
yeah.
it's like, oh,
Like without gloves on, you could probably get 3
ours is
fingers in
not.
there, but
It's really
without
only
them,
room for 2 fingers, and then the trigger is that little.
I never carry my blaster.
So was that actually in the design?
It's in the-
Now, if it
Yep.
made noise like that, maybe I would carry it
You
more.
go back
But
and look at the original concept art. A lot of them, a lot of the stuff had that.
I just realized I'm the one filming this.
Do you mind if I see that?
Yeah.
Are you?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That really
Yeah,
does
there's-
look like
Oh,
it
yeah.
came out of the movie. Totally. That looks
Watch where you-
fantastic. Oh no, you're going to destroy me.
Look at me. Can I see it? And Neil Bogart's
Yeah.
it. Can I see it? And Neil
Yeah.
Bogart's it.
Well, he's passing it to you, but he's playing with it first.
We have here a Biker Scout helmet.
Oh,
This
look at
is
that.
also vacuum formed out of ABS plastic. This was originally a prototype made by a company that.
I'm just gonna say right now, if you were a Jehovah's Witness, we'd sign up right now.
Knocking on the door with flyers.
Would you like to be a biker scout?
So the original helmets were made in multiple pieces. So
I don't know where to go with that one.
Cap and the back was actually 2 halves that were glued together. There was the
That
visor.
surprised me when I learned that.
Yeah.
The
I can't remember
front
the
has a
name
3D on
of
it,
the
which
person
looks
that
like a light tip.
carved the original bucks, but he carved them by hand out of wood, and he carved them in that mirror half, just eyeballing it. And when he put the 2 halves together, they were identical.
Holy cow.
So like he was just incredibly skilled at wood carving. So like that was the original buck for the scout helmet, and that's why it was formed that way. It was because the buck was in 2 halves vertically.
It doesn't make sense to me right now to do it like that. I thought, it'd be a cap and then maybe like around the head.
That's how like most makers make them now, because making it, like assembling it in 2 halves like that, is hard.
It is extremely hard.
It's way more difficult.
The original helmets had like a bit of a notch or a bump in the hinge, so that when you closed it, it would sort of keep it semi closed. The original, or this is made like the originals in that it's got a sort of like a hard hat liner in it.
The old hard hat liner.
Yeah. I like the hard hat liner, although I notice it gives me headaches nowadays.
Yeah.
Right in the temple.
Too tight?
Yeah, it has to be
must
somewhat.
Be in.
Pretty much assembled.
It was right at the temple. It's pushing right in the temples.
Yeah.
And it's not so much digging in, but just is the pressure that happens.
Yeah.
And it's great. It keeps my head on a swivel and doesn't wobble. But at the end of the day, I notice I have more headaches now with that than I did when I had the old.
You get better airflow with that style of helmet liner as well, because it's just open. Where like I've never used a hard hat liner. It was suggested for the Stormtrooper buckets as well, and I always, like with my Stormtrooper and my Scout Trooper, I used upholstery foam and just made like a custom liner that fit my head and made it sit properly. And it's really comfortable, but it's warmer.
Like the guy from G.I. Joe. Who's that guy with the big gold mustache? And
Gung Ho.
No, that was a Gung Ho. That was
He had a mustache.
No, with the big beard. Not Sergeant Slaughter. No.
Why are we talking about G.I. Joe
He
now?
had like this big. Like, it looks like the dude from G.I. Joe. The Navy guy.
I think Terry was talking about
he was like
There was
tweet
Nick
us.
Sant.
Let me know which character I'm talking about from at Gen X Wing. I gotta know who this is because I'm not gonna remember it.
So you look for that guy.
I know who you're talking about.
And then go back a couple scenes where.
I don't know if you heard what Terry just said so subtly. Okay.
I'm sorry. You're like, pew, pew. Doors open, and Han and Chewie are like, they're all walking in, and look way in the back of that door that opens on the left side.
Oh, he is talking about Nick Sant.
Endor Rebel has put on the Biker Scout costume because they knocked out those scout guards. So he took the costume, pretending to be the guard outside.
Don't remember this conversation.
And then they obviously get arrested afterwards. So you can actually see the balaclava and everything.
I thought I watched.
You're like, I don't know what to do.
No, I know
not-
exactly what you're. No,
I'm
I
not
know.
watching movies properly here.
No, I totally remember that.
But I mean, it's funny how we can,
Well, that's
You're like,
Well,
nothing's,
I mean-
nothing has changed, sir.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to break it to you 10 years later.
that's part of the research process, though, is watching for details like that. And like if you're building a scout trooper, you're finding every single scene that a scout trooper is in, and you're going frame by frame.
Yeah, you just have people that are looking at all these details.
Well, it's when you're looking at it from a certain point of view.
Wow.
Where
we have the same size head.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that. Put it on, man. That's
Nice.
awesome. But when you look at it from a certain point of view, and the perspective of, I need to know how all the costumes are made. You'll keep the sound off. You just got to look at costumes. And you're going to look at every angle of that.
Yeah,
So
I think
there's a
that
lot of different stuff that no one
I'm
knows
just
about.
trying to remember. Did I pop
So
this thing on?
most of
I was
these-
just in love with this
most
thing.
of these 501st detachments.
I don't care what the cover says. I'm doing a slow pan on it.
That's cool that right away you're like, oh, I think that's the one.
Yeah. Well, I could tell I was excited. I think that was it. Oh, I guess this is it. Want to hear more? Okay, so yeah, we did have a whole episode on this, but I don't know why we didn't show more of it. But you know, it was back in the day. So we have the whole episode is longer. This episode was better as a visual than an audio, but Terry does tell some amazing stories and history about the equipment. I need to go back and listen to the whole thing and watch this video again with just kind of sit down and watch and just kind of absorb it, because you know I've forgotten a lot of the stuff, and Terry is just a bank full of knowledge when it comes to that sort of thing. And so apparently so are you. Holy cow. Like,
what do you mean apparently? How long have you known me for?
Like, I've known you for probably 9 years now, because it wasn't 10. It was about 9 after this, you know. So, but it was just like,
I've done
you have
my
a lot of
research as
you've
well.
done you do a tremendous amount of research.
Yeah, I've beaten Terry at Star Wars trivia. I have the trophy in my closet to prove it.
That's right, you do. I do.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay. This was cool. This was fun. I'm gonna go listen to the episode on my own time now and just kind of listen back to it. And if you want to watch the whole episode without us talking through it, or if you want to listen to, if you want to watch the episode, it is on our YouTube channel. One of our very first videos. Check it out at the. I'll put a link at the bottom there of this video. And if you want to listen to the entire episode, the audio version of it, it is like episode 15. Now I know iTunes doesn't release any of the old episodes past like 50, the last 50 or so. So I might have to find a way to just upload it onto our YouTube channel.
Upload?
Just an audio upload.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do that now. I've been throwing the idea around of just uploading some old episodes, because we do another great video we do is visiting an armor party at and that's where we met Steve 3 for the first time, and apparently Marco was there, and a whole bunch of other people that we've now come to know as brothers of the 501st, and it's kind of neat to see these reactions and visiting and the building and stuff. And it just got me excited of joining. But I remember right after this, I was sold. Terry told me I'd said something, and now I'm gonna want to listen to the audio. He said that I pretty much wanted to do this before he left. And so yeah, and it really has changed my life. It gets me doing things, gets my mind focused on an activity or build. It's introduced me to great people like yourself and Steve and Hose Nose and Aaron and 1,000 other people, and it's just like, it's been very satisfying. And yeah, I don't know. What about you, Jamie? After watching that, do you kind of remember your first time of being introduced to all these pieces and armors and helmets and stuff?
Absolutely, yeah. My first armor party was at it was in North Van at Adam's place, and Terry was there. I had gotten my big brown box of armor and was terrified and had no idea what to do. And Terry basically just started digging out pieces and like took out a pencil and started drawing on it. Be like, cut here, get these kind of scissors, this kind of paint, and cut on these lines. And we'll go from there. But like, this is how you start building it. And like, that was such a gift to have someone who knows what they're doing basically tell you what you need to do for your next steps. It's like, it's terrifying getting a box of armor for the first time. You have no idea where to start or what to do.
I felt that with the AT-AT. The video's not up, but when I first opened up the Waltz armor and I opened the box and unloaded it, and I was very overwhelmed. I still feel every time I'm working on this thing, like, what did I get myself into?
Well, you don't want to start cutting on it without knowing for sure, because like those are permanent. You can't take back those cuts.
Which I've learned, which you'll see in a future video.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard thing to get past, and part of getting past it is doing your research.
Oh my God, the research! Yeah,
looking at other build threads, other build videos, and looking at screenshots yourself from the movies. I'm like, yeah, it's all about research. Like, I think I waited probably 9 months from payment to delivery of my Stormtrooper armor, and that 9 months I spent just looking at build videos and build threads. So I felt like I knew what I was doing when the armor arrived, but as soon as I opened the box, all that went out the window.
Yeah. Oh, totally. I've like all day today, I've been working on that table, coming back to the screen to check something. Go back to the table, do that one thing, come back and look at the second thing. Go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Where's this line supposed to go? Where's this cut supposed to go? Back and forth. I've done more laps between this computer and that table than I have at all school. And it's been nerve-wracking. In fact, I want to... Hang on. Wait. Look at that. With one hand. So, I mean, just to preview, that's what it's looking like so far. And I'm
pretty
like,
good.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not going to be perfect. It never will be perfect. But... the fact it looks kind of like an AT-AT driver so far without the glasses, and it's just like you're learning so many things, and you're looking like nowadays there are more videos of other people's builds and how they do things and how this guy does something, how that guy does something. So back then you must have had just a handful of videos to watch. Now everybody's making some sort of video, even like out of foam or whatever, but you're still learning from something.
You know what I was doing back in the day was I was on whitearmor.net, the site that Terry mentioned, where it's basically the home of 501st Stormtroopers, and I was just reading through every single build thread, seeing their method, seeing what they were doing, where they were encountering hiccups, but then you're also seeing experienced members replying in the thread being like, here's what you need to do next, this is what I would change or fix, or it looks good. And just learning from all of that.
Yeah. And for anybody who's wanting to do this, and I know that for some, I'm still feel like a rookie. I've done this this video was 10 years old. I've been a member for 5 years, and I still feel like I'm learning something new every day, and it still feels like don't know anything. And it's amazing how little I feel I know at times. And then I look back, I'm like, okay, I'm not as dumb as I thought it was. I know some things. And because when I was building this, there was a big giant gap right here. And it took me a week just to build just the dome. And when I found out I had to restart the whole friggin' thing.
Well, you said the dome was in two halves too, right? Covered up at the Mohawk?
Yes. I had put the two halves of the dome together, put the Mohawk on, glued it, all that sort of stuff. And then I noticed I couldn't put this on. And I'm like, I have to start this all over again. What took me a week, the second time took me a day. Because I had learned all that. Okay, I remember doing this, I remember doing this, I remember doing this. And now I feel I've done a better job the second time. I've heard even not Jamie Heineman, Adam Savage talk about this, and he talked about an episode where he screws up something, and you're bound to screw up something. You're always bound to screw up something.
It's always going to happen.
It's always going to happen. I was trying to go through this whole thing thinking I'm not going to make a mistake, and I made a big one. And the second time it happened, went a little faster. I learned from it, so I'm thankful that I was able to have extra stuff, but I'm thankful I did learn something out of this. So
100%.
But I don't know if I ever want to do this
the
again.
501st is awesome for is, if when you're a fresh trooper with a brand new big brown box of armor, you take it to an armor party and get guidance from people who've been through it before, who are confident, they know what they're doing, that can help you out. I don't think I've ever seen a single person build a set of armor in isolation on their own without some kind of help or guidance.
It's tough sometimes because we've tried to have a couple armor parties and they've both fallen through because of just situations come up. We don't have as many armor parties as we used to, but when you do go to one, it's extremely helpful.
Yep.
And I kind of would like to go to more. It's fun either helping someone with their costume or having them help me. So
and you look at I know Steve is in LA and he's helping new troopers in LA build their armor for the first time. And God, that's such a gift when you have someone who's helpful and friendly and confident because they've been through it before. They know what they're doing. I'm sure Steve could bang out a set of Stormtrooper armor in a weekend now if he really wanted to, right?
Wasn't that what he was doing with bucket heads the whole time?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, he's become quite good at it. Anyways, Jamie, thank you so much for going down memory lane with me, hand in hand. I really appreciate it. So
yeah, it was fun.
And if you wanted to learn more about the 501st Rebel Legion, or just want to know more about how to build certain things, I have a whole bunch of videos where I'm just kind of going through the process and fumbling my way through it. But also go online, connect with your local garrison, connect with online forums and stuff. It's hard sometimes. It's hard to connect. It's hard to get out of your shell. I know for myself, just connecting with other people I don't know, but you will find a lot of success, and there is a path for you. So hopefully this video is of some sort of help. I know some people are working on AT-AT Driver as we speak, and they've been liking some of these stuff I put up on our Outer Rim Rookie Facebook page. So there's that out there. I've got an Instagram account. Check out the videos below, subscribe, help the channel grow. We're trying to get to 900, and hopefully you learn at least one thing out of today. So
I think if you take anything away from this video, is that how excited and how willing your average 501st member is going to be to show you the ins and outs of their armor.
Yes.
If you're thinking about joining.
Yeah.
You can see how enthusiastic and how excited Terry is in that video. It's fun. It's fun to talk about. At the end of the day, you're talking about Star Wars.
Yeah.
But you're going into a level of detail that most people won't look at it from.
It is intimidating at times, but it's so worth it to just when you're finally done and you step back and look what you built. It's totally worth it. So
yeah.
Go out there.
I think that's probably. I was thinking about this the other day when I was talking with another member. Well, what do you think? We've all done conventions where you're talking with a lot of people from the general public. A question for you: how many people would you say you've spoken to who, after talking with you, are like, I'm gonna join. I'm going to take what you've told me. I'm going to do my research. I'm going to join. How many people actually join? Just ballpark. Percentage.
5%?
That's exactly what I was thinking, was probably a 5% conversion rate.
Yeah. I hear a lot of people.
It's because it's daunting.
It is very daunting. It's a lot of people go in thinking, well, I'll just buy a kit and I'll meet you next week. No, it doesn't work that way. Some people, when they feel it's daunting, some people think it's gatekeeping, and it's not. It's just it just requires a lot of effort, and there is a certain level you have to meet. And if we want to raise money for these charities, we want to make it look as realistic as possible.
Well, that's the goal, right? You want to look like you're straight from the movies, and to do that, you need to go into a level of detail that the average person isn't going to think about.
And it's hard not to take it's hard not to take it personally when you don't get it right. It's hard not to think, well, why just let it go? It's just a small little mistake. Why can't you just well, it's because, this little mistake is actually quite glaring once you look at this and that and this. It's just, we have these standards and we want to stick to these standards. And
you're ensuring that everybody that shows up to an event is at a certain level of detail and accuracy. There's that minimum level
to it.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. My landlord actually just recently came downstairs. I'm getting a new dishwasher, and he saw my table full of stuff. I was a little concerned because I'm like, I really am not making a mess of the place. I'm working on something. And he's like, what are you making? And I told him, making storm. He's like, you're making that? And he didn't really know this is what I do. I've been living here for so many years, and he didn't realize that this is, I run around like this. And he's like, do you make all that? Well, there's pieces of it, and I have to build this and do this and do this. And I could tell it was very strange for him to hear someone wanting to do this. And so what do you do with it once you're done? I'm like, I go out into the community and I raise money. I raised tens of thousands of dollars over the years to help cancer research, or to help the food bank, or just to help kids have a good time. And he was quite surprised, and he looked like a little more respect was there, which was nice because he's a super nice guy. And it's just like, it surprises people that we can take the stuff and put it to good use and help people around our communities.
That's why we do it, right? Like I've always said, I wouldn't have the Stormtrooper armor if I only wore it twice a year, like on Halloween and on May the 4th. That's just not worth the expense or the effort, right?
Yeah.
And for some people it is. Like
for some people that's
totally fine. But for me to be able to justify the expense and the effort, I don't think so. Like maybe a helmet, but for display. But the full armor and everything to like movie level accuracy, probably not.
No, it goes to, for me, it's all about the charity. It's all about the charity. I shouldn't say it's all. It's 90% charity, 10% friggin' nerding out. So there's a lot of nerding in this thing.
You're going and having fun with your friends at the end of the day, and dressing up like plastic spaceman. But it's being able to go out and put it to use beyond just dressing up for Halloween is something else.
Yeah. Well, let's wrap it up there. Jamie, thank you so much. I just realized I was not talking to the microphone. So, Jamie, where can we find you before we wrap it up?
You can find me on the ongoing YouTube series on the Generation X-Wing podcast YouTube channel called Ready to Believe, where I'm doing Ghostbusters stuff on that series, not just Star Wars. So we're talking all things Ghostbusters, costuming, merch, whatever comes our way.
Yeah. And if you want to learn more about the Outer Rim, let me try that again. If you want to learn more about becoming a member of the Outer Rim Garrison, 501st Legion, Rebel Legion, check out the links below. Check out my Outer Rim Rookie Facebook page or the Instagram account, and you can always reach out to me. I have a number of people reaching out to me asking questions about certain builds or where do you find this, and it's actually quite cool to help out in my own way. I seriously mean this. If I can do this, you can do this, because I don't know half the time what I'm doing. Just fumbling away through life here, and it seems to be working out pretty well. So there'll be more videos of the AT-AT driver build coming soon. As you can see, it's looking pretty good so far. A few details need to be fixed, obviously, but hopefully by the end of the summer, this will be done. That's my goal. So thanks for watching, and remember, armor is built on hope. Bye.